certainty of death, small chance of success. What are we waiting for?
Fellas, I feel this is my lucky day.
Brilliant.
Hey, and welcome to another episode of Rankum. This is going to be a fun one today. We're talking about WrestleMania entrances because next week WrestleMania is happening. But with that being said, I've got a great panel here. It's been a while since you've seen him. We've got JTH. JTH, how's it going?
Going pretty good. Pretty sure you're the only person I've actually ever discussed wrestling with amongst anybody here on the panel. So really looking forward to seeing what everybody else here, what their takes is on particular Wrestling Mania entrances, and really looking forward to it.
Yep. Someone who's going to be at WrestleMania next week. We've got Steve. Steve, how's it going?
I'm doing very well. I'm a veteran of the WrestleMania experience. I've gone to 7 WrestleManias, 8th being this year. I'm looking to continue the tradition eventually until the day that I die or that I run out of money. But yeah, I'm here. I'm looking forward to look back on terms of what what the best entrances of WrestleMania. I have a particular list. It's not a list of Jericho. It's the list of Mesa. So we're going to go down the list of Mesa and figure out which is the best WrestleMania entrance of all time.
Next up, you see him sort of rummaging around in his room looking for stuff. But we've got JB3. JB3, how's it going?
Pretty good. That's really good. It's my first time here, take 3, so I'm excited. You gave me the message, Malcolm, about talking about the best WrestleMania entrances, and that excited me immediately. So I'm happy to be here. All the people that I like, I've never met JTH, but I've seen him on screen a few times. So I'm excited to also see what he thinks about wrestling and these entrances. So thank you for having me here.
And last but not least, we've got Richie. Richie, how's it going?
Yeah, going good. You get a double dose of Rich two times in a row. Do you like that? I don't care. Anyway, cool. Sweet. I know this is going to be good. Talking about WrestleMania entrances. I've got a few on my list, so please don't steal them. Thank you.
But how the show works is we're going to go around the horn and each nominate a WrestleMania entrance that we think belongs on a top 12 list. And then we all vote on it. And then if it gets mostly yeses, then it'll make the list. And then at the end of the show, we rank them. But I'll get more to that when we get to the end. But JTH, I'm going to go to you first. What is the first entrance that you think belongs on the list?
All right, I'm going to start with at WrestleMania 20. It's hard to believe it's been 2004 since WrestleMania 20, and I remember watching it live on pay-per-view, if that's even still a thing today. To me, the entrance that still hits me at WrestleMania 20 is the return of the Dead Man, the Undertaker. I know a lot of people when they think of great Undertaker WrestleMania entrances, they'll usually think of WrestleMania 14, his first one with Kane, but I actually prefer this one a little bit better. And the reason being, not only was it because it was in the Garden, which obviously intensifies any WrestleMania entrance, but kind of the fact and the reason of we weren't quite sure what we were going to expect that night, because we knew that the Undertaker was going to come back as the Dead Man, but we weren't really sure how it was going to be done. And the way it was executed was absolutely perfect with the Druids, the first time you'd seen them in years. Paul Bearer coming back was great. And then when you just saw the Undertaker for the first time through that billowing pier of Druid torches, absolutely incredible. I still remember watching it live. It was absolutely breathtaking. And so that will be my first nomination.
Steve, what do you say about Undertaker's entrance from Mania 2020?
Well, I say that gets my Mesa media approval. That definitely, I had that as my. I believe we were talking about we were ranking. In my opinion, we were trying to figure out what the 12 best entrances. That was on my number. That was my number 11. So that definitely made my list. I definitely agree that this. I mean, it was literally 20 years since they started WrestleMania. It was a set. It's a favorite for all Undertaker fan, and not only that, it was also the return of one Paul Bear with that screeching, "Oh yes!"
JB3, what do you say about Undertaker from Mania 20?
So when I was going over my list, this actually did come up when I was thinking about all these entrances. Spoiler: The Undertaker came up quite a bit in my mind. So when it comes to this particular one, for those specific reasons, I'm gonna have to give my approval to, because uh, out of the many entrances that this man, dead man, if you will, has did at WrestleMania, there's a select few that will always be on the top of all the lists. And I think WrestleMania 20, if it's not my favorite, but it definitely gets the approval for being amongst the top 12.
Um, and with that, it does make the list. Richie, what would you have said about Undertaker from Mania 20?
This is a bit of a hot take. I prefer American Badass over the Dead Man. There you go. But that with that being said, I yeah, this was on my list. Just given I think Paul Bearer made that entrance as well, just because you were not really expecting. The lights were dim, and then yeah, so I would have given this a oh yes.
Yeah, I mean, this is one that when I was making the list, I realized how many wrestlers have made a lot of great entrances over the years. So there's definitely a few wrestlers on mine that had appeared multiple times. Undertaker is one of them. This is not one of the ones that I actually would have suggested to, but it's on the list now. There's not really much I can do about it. But Steve, what is the next one you're going to bring up?
Well, this is in my wheelhouse. Not only was I there for this entrance, he is as you could tell, I'm a big New Japan Pro Wrestling guy. And the first person that is my personal favorite, he's my favorite wrestler of all. Personal favorite wrestler working today. He's the king of strong style. He is Shinsuke Nakamura. And I think if we talk about entrances, despite the result and the feud that came after with AJ Styles, you cannot pass up that wonderful entrance from WrestleMania 34, where he was accompanied by a bevy of violinists. I'm not even sure how you say violinists. There we go. Not only that, but also rocking on the guitar, we have one Alice Cooper guitarist Nina Strauss rocking to Shinsuke Nakamura's entrance. And I'm gonna have to again, despite the results that fell from there, Shinsuke was on a shooting star. He had won Royal Rumble. He became the second ever NXT two-time champion. He was on the shooting star, and then right after WrestleMania 34, right after the entrance, unfortunately, things fell to the wayside, and we didn't see the likes of how they treated Shinsuke Nakamura until possibly we get a hint of it this year. But he's not even on feature on the main show. But my personal favorite, I'm going to have to include Shinsuke Nakamura's entrance from WrestleMania 34.
JB3, what do you say about Shinsuke Nakamura from Mania 24?
So yeah, this was indeed a badass entrance, for sure, for all the reasons that Steve said. As far as for me, I'm gonna say no, but the only reason, and I did this particularly for my list, I kind of discluded a lot, if not all, of the entrances that were themed off of like a live concert style. Like I have my band here playing my entrance music. If I were to rank that one though, that's probably like number 13. Like I that was on my mind a lot because what Steve said is correct. I'm not knocking the entrance. It's really it's incredible, especially for people who like Steve love New Japan. I do too. But I wasn't really knowledgeable about Shinsuke until he came to the WWE. My first match I seen of his was in NXT with Sami Zayn. So, I mean, I went back and watched some stuff because, man, he is good. But yeah, man, it's such a great one, but it just falls just tiny bit short for me. So it's a no for me.
Richie, what do you say about Shinsuke from Mania 34?
Yeah, I mean, despite maybe the feud that happened afterwards, yeah, like I was like Steve said, he Nakamura's on quite a hot streak, and yeah, but given that I'm a huge fan of Nita Strauss and Alice Cooper, I really dug this entrance. This is on my list, so it's a yes.
Yeah. Just like JB3, like when it comes to the entrances where they use their real the band or like do different concert styles, to me, it does make for a great entrance, but it's just one of those ones like, to me, using a concert style and getting the violinist and all that has been done so many times that it just feels like there's just repeating a lot of the time. I'm actually going to say no. So unfortunately, it does mean JTH is the deciding vote. JTH, what do you say about Shinsuke for Mania 34?
Well, luckily, this match just got added to the WWE YouTube page, so I just got to rewatch it again today, just to reminisce the entrance, and it is still as great as the first time I saw it. To me, it's a yes. To me, when you think of great WrestleMania entrance, I get the argument of concerts kind of dilute the entrance feel, but to me, a great entrance is a great entrance no matter how it's done. So to me, I would put it on here for sure.
And with that, it does make the list. JB3, what is the first entrance you're going to bring up?
All right, so now I have a number one. It's the top one. Me and Cass was talking about this top one literally right before we went live. We both decided, man, this is the greatest WrestleMania entrance of all time. I'm not going to pick that one yet, though, because I want to see if I can go through a round without it being chosen. So I'm gonna see. I'm gonna skip that one for now, and I'm gonna go to another one. But the other one that I want to bring up specifically, I'm gonna go old school. You talk about grand entrances. It's a thing for WrestleMania now. But for me personally, the one that started it all. Now I know they had some good entrances in the early days, but the grand entrance for me was the first one. It's when the boyhood dream came true, you guys.
Oh.
I'm talking about WrestleMania 12, HBK swinging, just going down that wire, and that was great to me. And he teased the entrance, I think, the night before. I think it was at the Hall of Fame or something. He teased that entrance and he said, "You've never seen anything like what you're going to see," and it really blew people's minds. So my pick for this first one is WrestleMania 12, Shawn Michaels, down the glider.
Richie, what do you say about HBK for Mania 12?
You probably got from my goddamn it. This is my first pick. So yes, a definite yes for me. Yeah, it was very really spectacular, and yeah, it played into the Mr. WrestleMania showstopper gimmick at the time. It's unfortunate, like due to obviously circumstance, that you probably won't see an entrance kind of like that again, like just due to the nature of it and the Owen Hart situation. But like, I mean, AEW's done similar things, so maybe it will, but like there's still, I mean, it's so famous that it's in the intro to WWE when you watch a show. So so yeah, this has to be on this list. So yes, it's a yes from me.
Yeah. I mean, this will be spoilers for a little bit later. For pick that I'm going to maybe bring up if I've come up. I do think there was a better HBK entrance, but I am saying yes to this one because I do think this is a great entrance. And I mean, I don't know. I wasn't around back then, so I don't. I think it's just one of those ones that no one probably expected it to happen either. But JDH, what do you say about HBK for Mania 12?
Well, it's kind of funny because Shawn Michaels kind of did like a mini glider entrance at the In Your House pay-per-view before WrestleMania 12, which a lot of people kind of forget about, when he kind of did like a little glider thing off the like the house set.
Yeah,
which I always remember that one. I always remember that one first, and so it didn't really surprise me that he would kind of up the page, because that was just what Shawn Michaels did back in the day. So yeah, I mean it's iconic, it's remembered, and it's a great entrance. So yeah, it would have been a yes for me also.
And Steve, what would you have said about HBK for Mania 12?
So Mania 12 was the first WrestleMania in which I was exposed to the World Wrestling Federation. I did not watch WrestleMania 12. I could not afford it. I could only wait till Coliseum Video released it and for me to rent it from Blockbuster Video. Hashtag nostalgia. I saw everything that happened leading up to the fallout, because I tuned into Raw the next day, which also had Mankind's debut on that same night. But like, my God, this was the first out of the big entrance. If we're gonna talk, Undertaker had a very unique entrance in WrestleMania 8 that doesn't get WrestleMania 9 that doesn't get talked about a lot. But we're talking about this one. This was the big one. This was a flight all the way from the top of the Arrowhead Pond all the way down to the middle, where he got dropped down into the middle of his clique and made his grand entrance, where he would achieve his boyhood dream. So that's a definite yes.
Richie, what is it's up to you. What is your first entrance you're going to bring up?
Okay, well, it was going to be the zip line thing. I'm gonna. I think as we go along this list, you're going to see repeat people come in, because it's like there's probably a handful of people who always make a point to make grand entrances. I'm going to bring up an underrated one, and hopefully, we'll see what people say. It's I can't remember like the WrestleMania numbers, so forgive me, but it was when the Miz faced John Cena with the Rock as enforcer, and the Miz's entrance, where he's in the control booth and he's going through all his career his sort of his career from real world up till now, and it really put over how what a success Miz is, and it really put him over as you can't say what you will about him now. He's a bit of a goof, but it put him over as a huge deal at the time, and I really dug this entrance. So I'm going to say the Miz.
Well, I can help people out here. This is the Miz's entrance from Mania 27 because it is on my list. This is one that like I was going through many lists and things just to figure out what I wanted on my list, and this is just one that came to me because just like Richie, I was seeing that there's a lot of people coming up a lot who's done a lot of big entrances. But this was up there, and this is one that I'm going to say yes to for sure. It definitely belongs on this list, and is one I do think should be talked about more. JH, what do you say about the Miz from Mania 27?
It's kind of funny because every time I remember seeing that promo video where it's reminiscing his past, I see that one picture of him back on the real world, and I swear every time I see that picture, I think it's Tobey Maguire, but it's actually the Miz. But this was one I was kind of tossing back and forth on, because I agree with both of you about kind of trying to mix it up and getting some new people. Unfortunately, it's more the promo video that I liked, and the entrance just doesn't really live up to it. I like the promo video a lot though, but the entrance itself is just kind of there in my opinion. So I would have to say no, but I don't have any problem with it being on here.
Steve, what do you say about the Miz's entrance from Mania 27?
I'm gonna have to, agree with what JTH is. While the promo package is probably the top 5 promo packages that's ever been done, along with My Wave with Stone Cold Steve Austin and The Rock and the Daniel Bryan Monster video. It came more off the power of the promo package rather than the entrance. The entrance honestly was just big ass letters and balloons saying awesome, and then he just pushed him aside and just sauntered his way to retain the title. I got nothing against of having the Miz on here, but when we're talking about big entrances, I'm going to have to say no.
Which means JB3, you're the decider on this one.
All right. So in my research of this entrance did come up. This entrance came up for sure. So it didn't, as far as whether or not it made my list or not, that's a whole nother story, but we talked about it and we kind of went along the same conclusion that JTH and Steve did. They're kind of a separate, but the biggest thing about the Miz's entrance was the letters. And it was cool, but it wasn't awesome. So
there you go.
Jesus Christ. Poor Richie.
Damn it.
But it's really good though. I mean, it's just like it kind of when you have to compare it. When I have to compare it to all the other ones, they just can't. If it was a top 20, yeah, maybe even top 15.
I agree.
It's on me to bring over an entrance. Yeah, I think I know. So I'm going to go first. So, in my research, I'm going to go for try to get some female representation on here because in my research, a lot of the big entrances have come from male superstars a lot. But I'm going for Charlotte Flair entrance from Mania 34. This is when she came on the big throne. She had 2 maybe NXT people, I don't know who actually they were, as Centurions. She came down as all bathed in gold, and this is just one of those entrances which spoke to me as just one that looked so amazing. And well, yes, you can argue it was done before with something similar to something Triple H has done in the past and stuff like that. I think that for females, this is one show that even females can be creative with a big entrance. And I think, being the daughter of Ric Flair, I think this is one of those ones that helps celebrate her lineage as well. So, go put Charlotte for Mania 34 on the table. JDH, what do you say?
I mean, I get what you're saying about the female representation, obviously, because usually the females only get 1 match a year for WrestleMania, so usually they have to really make a grand entrance for it to get remembered. Me personally, this is not the one I usually think of, though. There is another one that I usually think of a little bit more. So if we get a chance, I might bring it up later. So I'm going to give a slight no to this one.
Steve, what do you say about Charlotte from Mania 34?
You know what? I'm agree with JTH that I have a different Mania. I don't know if we're thinking about the same Mania. I'm thinking about I might be thinking about another Mania. But but despite what JTH say, you bring up the point that we don't see a lot of unique entrances. We see a lot of unique wardrobe from the female talent, but not a lot of unique entrances. And I think it was when Charlotte Flair started coming to the main roster, we started seeing, starting with WrestleMania 33, started seeing Charlotte be the standout in terms of the entrances. And her tribute, I say, to Triple H's entrance, because she was also one of the women to take off the crown off of Triple H, and for her to have it be the foot on be the shoe on the other foot on this case was a great tribute. And I mean, the fact that it starts with her father's song, and then it segues into her entrance song was just magnificent. And also a little biased, I also was there for this one, so I'm gonna give it the big old thumbs up here.
JB3, what do you say about Charlotte from Mania 34?
So yeah, again, she has a lot of great entrances. I agree with, like, she came on the scene and so it started becoming a thing. She embodies what a superstar should be. And I think that this is one of, this is kind of a crazy situation because, to be honest, if I were to think about it, I don't know if it would be on the top 12. However, it is the best female entrance that I've seen at WrestleMania at all. So that means something. It has to mean something. So I'm going to go ahead and just say yes. I'm going to give it a thumbs up.
With that, it makes the list. Richie, what would you have said about Charlotte from Mania 34?
I'm actually in JTH's camp, where I actually have another entrance that maybe will come up later that I enjoyed more. This was, I'm glad that I do agree that Charlotte has been got sort of, it has become like the standard bearer for the women to have these sort of grand entrances. I do hope that other women sort of get that opportunity, down the line. But it does feel like it's mainly Charlotte that gets the main entrance. So hopefully, maybe at WrestleMania 37, we'll see that. But I mean, this is a good entrance, and it's a good homage to before she was on the kind of famous before with the Triple H thing. But yeah, like I said, I would have probably put another entrance on here. So I would have just said a slight no as well, but it doesn't matter.
But JDH, what is the next entrance you're going to bring up?
Okay, so I'm going to go way back. I think this will probably be the earliest one we've brought up so far. To me, this was kind of the first really special entrance that I specifically remember that happened at WrestleMania, and it's one that kind of gets forgotten about, which is a shame. But I'm going all the way back to WrestleMania 6 with the entrance of Rhythm and Blues, which of course was the Honky Tonk Man and Greg Valentine, where they came out in the pink Cadillac. It was a grand entrance where they came out to Skydome with Jimmy Hart, and of course with DDP as the driver, as many people probably remember, kind of where he got his start in wrestling. But it was kind of that complete arrogant heel, over the top thing that Honky Tonk Man was always one of those guys that you just loved to hate. Back in the 80s and 90s, it was Roddy Piper, it was Ravishing Rick Rude, and it was Honky Tonk Man. And Honky Tonk Man would always come out in a grand, elaborate entrance, and this one to me was no different. They just upped the ante every single time, and I really remember this one, kind of the first special entrance, in my opinion, that happened at WrestleMania. So I'm going to go with Rhythm and Blues, giving a little love to the tag teams, because not really sure how many we might end up bringing up here. So I'll give a little love to them.
Steve, what do you say about Rhythm and Blues from Mania 6?
Well, I mean, it is a forgotten, somewhat classic. Him coming down in the pink Cadillac with Greg, with Honky Tonk, with Sherry as the valet, Sherry Martel in that wig, and DDP driving the Cadillac. But as far as for it to make the list, I like what your points you brought up, but I didn't even have it outside my top 20, my friend. Unfortunately, and with that being said, I'm going to give it a slight no.
JB3, what do you say about Rhythm and Blues from Mania 6?
That was the very first entrance that we discussed today. It didn't make my number one on the list, but it was the very first one that we discussed today. And he's right. It's almost the originator of it. I know that I'm not plugging here, but I know that I run CWT, but there's an issue with this. And there's only one issue, because this would make my list. I'm going to say no, but there's a reason why. There's kind of a weird technicality to it. they didn't have a match at that one. It was just like a concert to me. So as great as the entrance was, part of me has to think, was it an entrance? Because it wasn't necessarily for a match. I don't know. It was wonderful. And I think it set a trend that, continued on throughout the years, but yeah, I'm gonna have to give it a no.
Richie, what do you say about Rhythm and Blues from Mania 6?
Yeah, this was a bit before my time, so I went back and watched. I've gone back.
Love it. I love it though.
Yeah, I went back and watched it since. It is a cool entrance and probably about one of the originators. But yeah, I don't know, it's not like something that what didn't really made my list. And yeah, like JB3's point, they didn't have a match, so it's not really an entrance. So I don't know.
Love it. Can I change my answer?
I would say, soft no, but it's a respectable, it's a respectable pick to be considered. So
that's going to be the hardest no that I gave today, because
I mean, regardless on if they had a match or not, I would have suggested this one. There's probably another entrance that I'm going to be bringing up. It's maybe that could also maybe fall into this technicality of they didn't really have a match area, but yeah, this is one I really do like, this entrance. I actually looked this up just to watch it. It was great. But with that being said, it doesn't make the list. Steve, what do you say about what is the next entrance you're going to bring up?
Oh, there's a certain day that we used to celebrate. We used to celebrate this as far as maybe a year and a half ago. It's a day. It's a day. It's no. It's not. It's not that kind of day. It's Rusev Day. Rusev Day.
Yeah.
And if you have to talk about Rusev, we're talking about that big ass motherfucking tank he brought to WrestleMania 31. He rides a goddamn tank to the ring, and with a bevy of Bulgarian troops lining up with Lana, United States Championship, arm right around her shoulder, and leads away where Rusev gets ready to get beat by John Cena. So my pick for one of the top WrestleMania entrances of all time would have to be Rusev in his big ass tank at WrestleMania 31.
JB3, what do you say?
Yeah, that was it. That was my number one. That's the one. I was just gonna say it too, but he got to it before me. Yeah, I mean, come on. That's out of all the entrances that there ever was, there's only one entrance where somebody had enough balls to say, I want to come out on a fucking tank. Yeah. And not only that, as you know, as we all know, certain things happened involving that tank, and that makes it even a better entrance, if you know what I'm saying. So,
yes, sir.
Yes, all the yes. Daniel Bryan levels of yes.
Richie, what do you say about Rusev from Mania 31?
I say fuck you, Steve Mesa, but also yes, I say this was
sorry, I got to it before you mentioned it, Richie.
I swear to God, I don't pick my stuff, and then that was my next pick, and I'm going to be scrambling again. So yes, this is definitely on my list, and I like how I love how like in previous month in months to come, he just keeps bringing it up. It was really fun, and it showed how charismatic Rusev is. I came to WrestleMania in a freaking tank, bro. Yeah, yeah, and no, I love it. Yeah, it was. I mean, you can say what you will about Miro's WWE run, but that was, yeah, that was definitely a highlight. And yeah, so and he shouldn't have lost the match, but that's another story. But yes, definitely.
But yeah, this one wasn't on my list. It's a good. I mean, I enjoy this entrance. I mean, when Steve was saying about certain days, I thought he was going to steal one off mine, but that may come up later. But I would have gone a slight no. But JTH, what would you have said about Rusev from Mania 31?
I mean, I would have said yes. I mean, yes, it's a silly entrance when you look back at it. You know, a person coming in on a freaking tank. It just is really silly when you think about it in the grand scheme. But it's still a great entrance. So I would have said yes too.
I mean, I could have sworn DX come out on a tank or some military vehicle at one stage. I think, maybe not at Mania, but I think pretty sure they've done something similar. But JB3, what is the next interest you're going to bring up?
So I had a choice between two. One I know is probably a guaranteed to be on there. One I don't know. So I'm gonna pick the one that I don't know. This might not be picked by you guys, but I'm going to go ahead and guess. It was pretty much the beginning of everything so badass about Stone Cold Steve Austin. Like, everything about that. And if you want to talk about the match afterwards, I mean, this is what, I mean, it turned him into the biggest babyface. At the same time, it turned his opponent into a big heel. I'm talking about WrestleMania 13. Stone Cold Steve Austin, the glass breaks, and it was symbolic because that was the event where the glass broke on his career and he took off to be one of the best of all time. WrestleMania 13, Stone Cold Steve Austin, glass break.
Richie, what do you say about Stone Cold from Mania 13?
I mean, I definitely hear what you're saying about it being symbolic and the glass breaking, but at the end of the day, his entrance was the same entrance that he's been coming for a while. But I mean, I remember more the aftermath of the match and the ending of the match more than I do the entrance, and just the sharpshooter and him not tapping out and the blood dripping down his face and Ken Shamrock reffing. I remember that. I don't really particularly remember the entrance. I don't think the entrance. So I respect you for bringing it up, but I'm going to say no.
Yeah, I mean, as much as I hate doing this to Stone Cold, because he is one of my favorite wrestlers of all time. But to me, like, this isn't. Like, when you look back at it, this feels like just a standard Stone Cold entrance because the glass breaking has become symbolic to Stone Cold now. So it's one of those ones that, it's just one of those ones that when you look back, it just feels like a normal entrance. Doesn't really feel that special as what it may did if this is the first time seeing Stone Cold ever. So I'm going to say no. JTH, what do you say about Stone Cold for Mania 13?
I'm not sure what you guys are talking about. This is one of the greatest entrances in WrestleMania history. I mean, I can remember everything verbatim. When Vince McMahon is going, listen to this crowd, listen to this response, and JR going, Steve Austin is 6'2", 252, says there's not a human being walking the face of the earth that can make him say I quit. And I think I believe him. And it's like you remember those things verbatim. And there's a reason why this clip is used over and over and over again in WrestleMania montages because of just what it represents to WrestleMania. To me, this is the epitome of what a great WrestleMania entrance is. It kind of what you guys were talking about earlier. They're not all great entrances need to have pyrotechnics and great theatrics. You just need to have the presentation. That's what makes a great entrance most times than not. So to me, this is an easy yes, in my opinion.
But with that, Steve, you're the decider. What do you say about Stone Cold from Mania 13?
All right, story time, gentlemen. So I was at WrestleMania 32 in Dallas, Texas. Texas being the home of good old Stone Cold Steve Austin. And then right before, like 10 minutes right after a match that Richie's about to talk about in a few minutes, there was you had Mick Foley, you had Shawn Michaels, and last but not least, you had Stone Cold motherfucking Steve Austin make the biggest pop since the Mania since I've attended the. We'll talk about that one later on for that one for the other pop too. Dude, this was the first time I ever attended a WrestleMania where Stone Cold made an entrance, and holy shit, was I popping and the wheeling and a hooting and a hollering. He's tossing them beers, he's just giving Stone Cold's stunners left and right to whatever that the League of Nations. I remember League of Nations. But hey, we wouldn't have all that if it wasn't for WrestleMania 13 at the Rosemont Horizon in Rosemont, Illinois. So with that said, I would not only say a yes, I'm gonna give it a oh hell yeah.
I give it a 6 out of 10. 6 out of 10.
But it does make the list. And Chris, I mean, I wasn't trying to disrespect his entrance. I was just saying, when you look, it's one of those ones that when you look back on it, because like I was really late to the game when it comes to wrestling. Full stop. It just felt like a standard Stone Cold entrance from what I'm always been used to from Stone Cold. So that's kind of why I went the way I did. But anyway, with that being said,
at least half of it didn't break like at Survivor Series '97. That was like one of the biggest flubs ever.
But with that, Richie, we go back to you. What is the next entrance you're going to bring up?
Okay, what else can you say no to? No, just kidding. I'm going to continue the route of not going with the obvious people because I think what makes an entrance too is not just like the theatrics or just the creativity. It's the crowd pop and a surprise. Because if you and I think because of that, because of the entrance and because it was a surprise, this is going to be remembered for a long time. I'm going to go with the Hardy Boys return at WrestleMania 33.
Ooh.
All right. JDH, what do you say about the Hardy Boys return at 33?
Yeah, this is a yes for me. Again, like I said before, I think it's important that we get every facet on this list, whether it be females and tag teams as well. And this is one of those entrances that most people remember when it comes to the tag team division. Yes, I would say that it's worthy just based on the reaction alone.
But yeah, I realised I skipped myself, but it's just because I knew what. But I'm going to jump back to me. Yeah, this is one that I've been sort of going back and forth on. But it's one of those ones that now I've sort of had time to think. This is definitely a surprising entrance because like if anyone it wasn't an entrance. The New Day just announced that they were coming in and joining this match. It was an entrance. Like it's one of those ones that I didn't see coming because at that point I knew they would make. I think they were the Ring of Honor Tag Champions at the time.
They lost them the night before to Young Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, no, I just knew they were connected with like Ring of Honor and the other companies. I did not think I'd ever see the Hardy Boys come back. Like Jeff Hardy, like my number one favorite wrestler is Jeff Hardy. He's one of those ones that I connected with a lot when I started getting into it. But so I'm definitely saying yes. Steve, what would you have said about the Hardy Boys from Mania 33?
All right, give me just a few seconds because I would like to let you guys know what the matches that they were going through this weekend. So check this out. So we got March 31st, WrestleCon Super Show 2017. The Hardy Boys defeated the Lucha Brothers. That was Friday. Saturday, They were defeated by the Bucks of Youth in a ladder match of the top 5 ladder matches of all time at Ring of Honor, Supercard of Honor 11. And then they topped things off. Not only that, they had I remember this. They had a Hardy's barbecue the day of Mania 33. There was all these rumors. There was all these innuendos that they might be showing up, they might not. And in the fact that you had them showing up at a barbecue, you're like, oh, maybe maybe we won't see them at Mania 33. But guess what happens that night, gentlemen? Guess what happens tonight? New Day looks like as they were about to enter the fray for this four-way tag team ladder match. And guess who comes out? It's Jeff and Matt Broken freaking Hardy, the Hardy Boys, to the biggest pop you will ever hear at a WrestleMania. And I was there for that. And my God, did everybody literally go nuts. I was just literally jumping up and down like I was at a Backstreet Boy concert. This is a yes, a hell yes, a fuck yes. So many derivatives of yeses that I want to give to this entrance. This gets my Mesa seal of approval.
Yeah. And JB3, what would you have said about Hardy Boys from Mania 33?
Oh, yeah. This was a legit surprise. It's amazing. I love that you picked this, Richie, because it is so perfect because it's not a flashy entrance. It doesn't have anything special added to it except for a big, awesome surprise. And I think one of the best parts about it, too, one of the greatest parts about it, is that the New Day came out in their gear. So when they said there's going to be a 4th team, they drew attention to them. Like they were going to be the ones so it added to the surprise. And that right there made it. So I definitely would have said a yes for this.
Yeah. But with that being said, it's on me. But I'm hungry. I need some cereal. I think I need some Bougios.
You just stole your choice.
Oh, how dare you put Bootios over my face?
You stole your choice, Richie. Richie, he stole your choice.
At the store. That's so ridiculous.
But you know, I'm going for the New Day entrance. Which when was it? For Mania 32, the year before, where like when the lights came up, all you saw was this box of cereal on there, then all of a sudden it tipped over and the New Day came out as cereal prizes. But again, this is another one that, like many argue, may not be a really flashy sort of entrance, but this was a fun one because at that point I think they were doing promotion with Kellogg's and stuff with their cereals. Not that I ever saw it over here. I think it was just an American thing, but I believe there really was Bougie cereal available from what I've heard. But this is just a fun entrance that I did not expect when I was watching this, but it was great. I enjoyed this. JDH, what do you say about New Day from Mania 32?
For the record, I hope no one ever takes a photo of that because that might be the only time you ever see a booty on my face. So I'll just leave it at that. As far as the entrance, I mean, it kind of goes into that silly category that I was talking about when it came to Russo. I've never been blown away by the New Day. That's my kind of my hot take there. Just something about them has never really connected with me. I mean, they're fun and all that, but I think it's just the match quality. Never really gotten into their matches as a result. So I've never been real high on them, but the entrance is fine. Nothing against the entrance, but again, to me, it's just over the top silly. So I'm going to give it a no.
Steve, what do you say about New Day from Mania 32?
All right, before I go into my deluge of the New Day, if I may recommend JTH 2 matches, if I can say so. The Usos match against the Usos in Hell in a Cell 2018 or 2017, and no, 2017 Hell in a Cell 2017. The first match open is New Day versus the Usos, one of the best tag team matches I've seen in the WWE modern day era. That's not an NXT tag team match, and also their 2 out of 3 falls 4th of July title celebration against the Bludgeon Brothers.
Yep,
So
remember
if
that.
I'm going to say that, check out those two in terms of their work rate. And dude, I mean, we can't talk about Kofi-Mania. I mean, that match with Daniel Bryan. All that aside, I'm going to have to definitely agree with Malcolm that this was a very memorable, a top tier Mania entrance with the Booty-O's being tilted over, and the New Day coming out of these cereals like little cereal prizes. And not only that, they're dressed like the characters from Dragon Ball Z. You have the following year where the dress has Final Fantasy characters, and this year, the Dallas year, they're dressed stylized, including with Super Saiyan armor. Super Saiyan armor. You would never see a Super Saiyan armor on a WrestleMania if it wasn't for a group of people, of talented and imaginative people like the New Day. And I think they brought nerd culture to WWE and bringing new fans with them with that. With that, yeah, I'm like, yeah, with that, because you got all these people. I think New Day is a gateway for saying, hey, man, you can be cool, you can be watching wrestling, you can watch wrestling, you can enjoy wrestling, and you can be a nerd at the same time. So with that, I'm tossing out seals of approval over here. Here's another Mesa seal of approval. Yes, sir.
JB3, what do you say about New Day from Mania 32?
So this is tough for me because this is a very good entrance. They have already explained all the reasons why it's such a great entrance. I'm a huge DBZ fan, like to the point to where my son became a huge DBZ fan, and we bond over it from a generational standpoint. With that being said, I got my list here. I have what's hasn't been chosen left, and I'm looking at each one of them, and I'm just putting the New Day entrance, comparing it to each one of those. And with how many spots we have left and what I see on my list, I'm going to have to say that this pick is going to get a yes. Barely. And not because it's not a good entrance, it's because there's only a couple on here that I can see it was actually probably better than, because I didn't think about this originally, but now that it got brought up, that's why I had to do the comparing. Yeah, there's definitely some better, but out of the ones that I have left, it has to take I'm going to say yeah.
And with that, it does make the list. Richie, what would you say about New Day from Mania 32?
I think the story of the New Day is really great. I love the New Day. When they initially formed, you thought they're going to be like a Nation of Domination type kind of stable, and then it was sort of flipped on. Maybe they got rid of that idea, and they became sort of became sort of preaching a gimmick, which didn't and they're supposed to be baby faces. They didn't get over at all. But then and the crowd were sort of rounding against them. But then they turned heel and sort of lent into their kind of the wacky and weirdness, and then they got over huge. And so and they're really talented guys, and this entrance is very on brand for that. But due to sort of limited spots left, I would have just said just no. Yeah, I would have said no, but I wouldn't have been I wouldn't upset if I got on there.
But there is 4 spots left, and JTH, you're on the floor.
Wow, I got a feeling this one's not going to get on. Probably not a chance. But to me, I've always been a fan of this one, and one of the very early entrances that I remember, and another kind of forgotten entrance, and it's kind of apropos because of the character the wrestler was playing. I'm going back to WrestleMania 10, the opening match of that night, arguably considered one of the greatest matches in WrestleMania history, one of the greatest opening matches in wrestling history, and about what I talked about earlier, about sometimes you don't need theatrics or pyrotechnics to make a great entrance. Sometimes it's how the entrance is presented to you. And I remember when the ring announcer was in front of Madison Square Garden, and he says, "Introducing first, from Calgary, Alberta, Canada," and everyone starts cheering like crazy. and then Owen Hart's music plays, and then everyone goes, oh no, because they realize they'd just been fooled. And even Vince McMahon himself was like, wait a minute, it's Owen Hart. I thought it was going to be the Hitman. And then Owen Hart comes out of that dark purple shadow hue lighting, literally walking out of the shadows, wearing the Hitman's signature glasses. And even the motions that he did when he's going, I'm the best, to all the fans, and they're just booing and eating him alive. And when he just gets in the ring and rips the trademark sunglasses in his hand and chunks them to the side, it set that story perfectly. Like, to me, that's an entrance that you can't do anything to improve at. It is executed absolutely perfectly, presented brilliantly, and again, it's sad because it was just like Owen Hart's character. He was always the forgotten one, and to me, this is a completely forgotten, great WrestleMania entrance that to me deserves a lot more respect because of how it was presented. So it probably doesn't have a shot, but I'm going to give it some love. I'm going to go Owen Hart, WrestleMania 10.
Steve, what do you say about Owen Hart from WrestleMania 10?
Now, the way JTH presented the presentation of Owen Hart's entrance, I have to say I did not have it on my list. For sure, it was outside of my top 20. But the way that he described it, and the way I've seen this match a few times, not as much as probably some of the people on this panel, but the way he presented this match, you know what? I'm a diehard Nugget. I'm a big fan of the two-time Slammy Award winner, even though technically he's only a one-time Slammy Award winner. And you know what? While you think this is going to be the only person going to give this guy love, I'm going to give it love too. I'm going to give Owen Hart some love with the WrestleMania 10 entrance. The way he described it, really had that in my imagination, and I do remember everything about it. Him ripping off the glasses. I'm the best. I'm the best Hart. I'm the best there is. The best there ever was. And then following that, you got a hell of a match. I would say best opening match in Mania. Second would be something that I'll be talking about it a little later on.
JB3, what do you say about Owen Hart from Mania 10?
I mean, yeah, that was a great. You said it perfect, JTH. It's the forgotten one because I forgot all about it. But when you brought it up, the image came to my mind of him ripping those sunglasses. WrestleMania 10 was the first WrestleMania that I watched that I remember. I watched 8 and 9 with my grandpa, but I was really young back then and not too many memories. I'm kind of glad I don't remember WrestleMania 9. I'm just going to throw that out there. But again, out of what I have left on my paper, I'm putting it up to what I have, and that's literally the only reason I'm going to have to give it a no, is because out of what I have left, as great as that was, it was. I don't want to sound, because it was a great entrance, but talking about the best, it was forgotten for a reason. It's because and it's not because it was a bad entrance. It's because what followed was 100 times better, and it might have coincided with each other, but the memorable thing about that was the reverse to the victory roll. I remembered the snot foam on his mouth, on the corner of his mouth, more than I remembered anything else too. Like, that match was incredible, and I think that the legacy of that match is intact because of it. So it's a hard no. I said the other one was the hardest no that I gave, but this might be one of the hardest no's that I give too. But it's literally just because of we're at the end. I guarantee if you would have said it when we were at the beginning, I probably would have gave it a yes.
Could I make the argument though that the entrance actually improves the match?
It does. It does. It does.
And can I also say that one of the memorable parts also is the long forgotten overhead camera views of Owen and Bret Hart in the Madison Square Garden. You ever seen those in the Bret documentary, the WWE documentary, and a little bit of the Owen documentary? You see the overhead, especially the one where Owen's kicking him in the head and Bret's like, "Don't do it again. Don't do it again."
Can I say there's still 2 people to go and it could still make the list? Richie, what do you say about Owen Hart for Mania 10?
It could still make the list.
Look, this is like you like it's been said. You made a really good case for it. Like it's not something I didn't think of. Yeah, like Owen versus Brett's one of the not only one of the best like like opening matches of WrestleMania of all time. Not one of the even one of my favorite matches of all time. Like one of the best feuds of all time. Just it's just perfectly booked. But this thing, I think I have to go with like just because there's so few spots left, and I think JB makes case that the match overshadows that moment, and also yeah, I remember from that feud. I remember the match, and unfortunately from the feud, I remember
4.
I remember Owen Hart stumbling his line, saying, "That's why I kick your leg out of your leg."
Leg.
So it's with regret, but yeah,
Yeah, I
like you
have that.
case for it, but I'm gonna say no.
Yeah, I'm also going to say no as well. This is just one that I didn't think of. I
Say it
just
to Owen Hart's face. Say it to Owen Hart's face. Say it.
Owen, it's a no.
You're a nugget.
Enough is enough. It's time for a change.
But but yeah, this is just one of those ones that I just didn't feel like it was a good entrance, but it's just one of those ones. I've got a few on my list that I think are much better, and there's some that I'm surprised haven't come up yet, which I'm worried are not going to make this list. But Steve, we go to you. What is the next one you're going to bring up?
So, we're talking about rejection, we're talking about acceptance, and when I think about acceptance, there's one word that I think of. Well, maybe not one word, maybe it's 2 words, maybe it's 3 words. And I believe there's 3 letters, and I believe it's yes, yes, yes. I'm talking about Daniel Bryan's entrance. Everybody talks about Triple H's entrance. Everybody talks about his golden crown. He sits on a throne of bone and everything. But nobody talks about, we're talking about subtlety. JTH talked about subtlety with Owen Hart's entrance. I'm talking. This is a subtle entrance, but it also comes with the biggest crowd following. It was WrestleMania. I'm talking about Daniel Bryan's entrance in WrestleMania 30. How can we now talk about entrances? Yes, he did not have a fancy robe. He did not have a vehicle to go down the ramp on. But you know what powered his entrance? You know what powered his energy? You know what empowered his stamina? It was the yes movement. It was the crowd. It was the New Orleans crowd. It was the people saying yes, yes, yes over and over again that led to him to the second best opening match in Mania history, that led to him to conquer Triple H, that led to him to the triple threat match against Batista and Randy Orton, that led to him to winning his second WWE World Heavyweight Championship and turning WrestleMania into Yesomania.
JB3, who's kind of gone to the side. What do you say about Daniel Bryan from WrestleMania 30?
So that's a tough one because I like everything that you said, Steve. But again, it's not on my list, and we're running out of options. The Miracle on Bourbon Street. It was amazing, but the long-lasting memory of that is him saying yes with the titles. So I'm just gonna have to throw a no out there for that. Not because, not because it's not a good entrance. It's just I don't think it can hold up amongst what's on my list, what we have available left for the spot.
Richie, what do you say about Daniel Bryan for Mania 30?
I will say I like how you hype things up, Macy. You should be like the Todd Pettengill guy from from on pre-shows. You do a really good job at that kind of thing. But that being said, the thing I remember most about this moment is the him finally realized conquering the the doubts and that he's improving, that he's not a B+ player and winning the titles and saying yes, and the crowd reaction there. I don't like the actual entrance isn't as memorable to me. So, and we've only got a few spots left, so I'm going to say no.
Fair.
Yeah. I mean, Chris has kind of said what like I was thinking, going to say is Daniel Bryan's entrance in Mania 30 just is basically his usual entrance he does. Like, well, yes, the crowd reaction hypes up entrances and all that. I get it. But it's also one of those ones when you've got a crowd with more people than you've ever had. Of course, it's going to see it be more exciting. So it's going to be a no for me. JDH, what would you have said about Daniel Bryan?
I probably would have said no, just because looking at the list we have, I'm noticing that we just have a lot of entrances that are from WrestleMania 30 and on. Like to me, there's a lot more like classic entrances that I think should get a little more recognition on a best entrances list. So I think to diversify a little bit, I probably would have said no if it came down to me.
Only man on an island over here.
But if that, I've hopefully JB3 is still around because it's on him to bring up an entrance. But what I'll do is I'll go to Richie, then I'll go back to JB3. So Richie, what entrance do you think belongs on this list?
All right. I think we're coming down to people that I think we've got a good list so far, because we're not sort of going with the obvious sort of people, if you know what I mean. But there are people who've like made a point to make a great entrance, and I think we've gotten to the point where we sort of got to mention them. So I'm going to bring up. I can't remember exactly what Mania it's from, but Triple H's Terminator entrance is badass. So I'm gonna the Terminator entrance from Triple H WrestleMania is great. I know Steve already going, but so yeah, ignore his opinion. Just go to Malcolm.
Triple H from WrestleMania play button.
Yeah.
Rewind button too.
No, you don't want to rewind that one.
You kind of want to do, especially the match too.
For me, it's usually WrestleMania skip button.
Got it.
But yeah, this is Triple H from WrestleMania 31, also known as play button for those following at home. This entrance is fine. It's not the best Triple H entrance at all. I mean, it was fun that you got Arnold Schwarzenegger there as promotion. I think this was around the time my Terminator movie was coming out as well. So you had that kind of connection as well. But it was fine. It's a no, though. JDH, what do you say about Triple H Terminator?
Yeah, you knew the writing was on the wall when Arnold Schwarzenegger buried Sting before Triple H even came out to the ring. It's not one of my favorite Triple H entrances either. So yeah, it would be a pretty easy no for me as well.
Steve, what do you say about Triple H 31?
No. That's not even it's not even the best of Triple H entrance, and I'm sure we might get that down the wire eventually. But I might even say no to that, because y'all rejected Daniel Bryan. Now I know how JTH felt about his rhythm and blues pick.
You don't want to think about that for a second? I feel like no one's even considered. Anyway, whatever, cool. That's great enough.
JB3, what would you have said about Triple H from Mania 31?
Yeah, it would have been his best entrance if he didn't do all those other ones. So
that's a nice way of putting it.
Yeah, I mean, look, it was fine, but he was already at that point known for entrances, and he's already at that point done better. So at the time, it was kind of a disappointment for people. But I mean, it's better than most entrances at WrestleMania. So I mean, in general,
not better than Daniel Bryan WrestleMania 30 though.
but
Yeah.
but for that, JB3, we go back to you. What entrance do you think belongs on this list?
All right, so man, oh my gosh, I'm going between two, and the reason is because, and it's the same person, just two different WrestleManias. I love both of these, and it's kind of a weird reason why they kind of connect. But if I would have to choose between them, and eventually somebody's going to pick Triple H WrestleMania 30. That's going to have to be picked, but I'm not going to be that guy because I don't want to pick that. As great as that was, I want to pick, man, oh gosh. Okay, I'm just going to say it. The Undertaker, WrestleMania 29 against CM Punk when he had like the hoodie on and it was the silhouette and he was walking and they were grabbing it and they were reaching out for him and he was like touching their hands and then yeah, that was his final win during the streak. That was a big one. And it was such a fantastic match. It was his final great WrestleMania match. And yeah, for me, man, there's another one that I wanted to pick, but I can't pick it over this one because this has always actually been my favorite Undertaker entrance at WrestleMania. The one with that, to me, that was always so great. And I believe it was 29. Correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's
29.
29.
Yeah, 29.
But yeah, that's my pick.
I might be talking about something else besides the fact that even though we had a quota about a certain concert feeling type of deal, so I might be going on his opponent soon.
But I mean, you mentioned that this is his last great match. You're saying you didn't like Taker versus John Cena, the 2-minute match that they had. But Richie, what do you say about Undertaker for Mania 29?
Yeah, this is on my list. Yeah, I could be talking about my ass here, but what I think it was either this entrance or some entrance I might talk about before. But I think one of the Druids at one point during an entrance, and it would be a good kind of it'd be a kind of unique kind of reference. But I believe one of the Druids at one point during his Undertaker's entrance was Colt Cabana, just in one of under the thing. So that's kind of cool. But yeah, no, this was. This interest was really cool, and I think we're due for Undertaker, more Undertaker to be on this list. So I would say yes.
Yeah, I mean, out of the Taker entrances we've already got on here, I think this one is a better entrance. So I'm going to say yes to it. So it does make the list. JTH, what would you have said about Taker for Mania 29?
I mean, I would have said yes. I mean, I don't have a problem with people having multiple entrances on here. To me, the Taker 20 entrance is a little more reminiscent and a little more memorable to me, simply because it's Madison Square Garden, and that always adds a little more prestige and prestige to it. So, but I don't have a problem with this one being on here either. So I would have said yes.
Steve, what do you say about Taker 29?
You know what? You guys didn't vote for Daniel Bryan. You didn't vote for the Rhythm and Blues. Barely squeaked by Shinsuke Nakamura. So I hate to be the only person to say the opposite word, but I'm gonna have to say yes. Of course, I'm gonna go with this. Yes, WrestleMania 29. It's an unforgettable image. Undertaker makes his entrance as a bevy of souls reach out for him, like he was Hades going across the river of Styx and trying to make his way before he would face his last victory before the year we shall not name, where the streak was forever put to rest. So I'm gonna complete and say we're going 5 for 5 for this one. Yes.
All right, that's on me now. For my next entrance, I'm looking at what we've got on there. There's one name that I just can't see yet. That's because we haven't brought him up. but it is totally John Cena. And the one I'm going to pick is connected to the entrance we just got on there. So I'm going for John Cena and his gangster entrance, which did feature CM Punk as one of the gangsters alongside him. Like John Cena is one of those ones that has had a lot of great entrances over the years. Whether it's the one where he started racing from the car from an unspecified location, or to Cena clones, but this is just one of those ones that I really thought was that was great, because he played into the whole Chicago aspect and gone for the gangster thing, and this is just my favorite of John Cena's entrances. So yeah, this is on the table. JTH, what do you say about John Cena from Mania 22?
See, I'm actually not as big a fan of this one. I actually thought when you brought up Cena, you were going to go with Cena clones, because actually I prefer that one a lot more than this one. So I'm going to say I'm going to have to say no to this one. It's just, to me, it just doesn't rank up there with his own entrances, let alone the best ones.
Steve, what do you say about John Cena from Mania 22?
Sorry to break your heart, Malcolm. This is a no for me, my friend. I am my personal favorite is the one he did the year after with the car breaking through the window. That kind of at least gave us a hint that he was going to do the Fast and the Furious movies in the future. So we kind of got a little Nostradamus there, thanks to good old Vincent Kennedy McMahon, that he was going to be in F9. But like I said, I prefer John Cena's entrances. Hell, even his clone entrances was just funny for just being a meme-worthy entrance. Nothing against Chicago. I love Chicago. The CM Punk being one of the gangsters is pretty cool. But yeah, I'm going to have to say no.
JB Fu, what do you say about John Cena from Mania 22?
So Malcolm, you're not gonna like me for this, because if you like John Cena entrances, you're gonna talking to a guy who does not like any of the John Cena entrances at WrestleMania. I didn't think he did good on any of them. I like John Cena. I think that he's one of the best of all time, probably the greatest WWE champion of all time. But for some reason, I don't know why, I could never connect with his WrestleMania entrances. He's not even on my list. Not one of them. Cass was bringing him up, and I'm just like, I don't like any of his entrances. I didn't like the car. I didn't like the gangsters. Yes, CM Punk being there was cool. That's all cool. I'm sure he tried hard, but
A for effort.
yeah, I don't know, something about him just never connected with me. So if I were to say yes, it would literally just because of how much I love Malcolm, but I can't do that. Right, exactly. So I got to give it a no.
Richie, what would you have said about John Cena from Mania 22?
So yeah, unlike JB3, I actually don't mind John Cena's entrances, but I will say if I was just gonna rank John Cena's entrances, this would be my least favorite. I kind of find it a bit corny. It's just a bit. It is a bit on the lame side for me. If you put up against his other entrances, yeah, like I prefer the other ones. So I would have said no.
But with that being said, we move on to JTH. What is the next entrance you're going to bring up?
Okay, so I'm going to be a little biased here. I'm going to throw out an entrance at the sole WrestleMania that I personally attended, and it would be that one right there, WrestleMania 24 in Orlando. And to me, the entrance that always resonated to me when I saw live, the one that I was most looking forward to, because I think Steven and I would both agree, we pretty much knew it was going to be his last match, or at least we thought it was going to be his last match. I'm going to go with the Nature Boy, Ric Flair, when he came out in that elaborate, massive blue robe, and just with the gold glitter fireworks behind him in the background. And it was just so elegant to watch. And the thing is, I almost wish I could have watched it on pay-per-view at the same time just to hear the commentary of JR and King at the same time. And when they are bantering back and forth as Ric Flair's coming down to the ring, and you hear King just going, JR, there's just never been another wrestler like Ric Flair has there. And JR is like, absolutely not. And there never will be again, as Flair walks proudly and confidently down to the ring for his career-threatening match with Shawn Michaels, which is still the greatest match I've ever seen in person. I'm blessed that I ever got to see that match live. It was unbelievable to actually see. One of the most wonderful things I've ever actually been able to do is attend a WrestleMania, and to be able to see that one is really special. And to me, I'm going to throw out that one. Completely biased, I will admit, but to me, it's the entrance that I always remember from WrestleMania 24.
Steve, what do you say about Ric Flair for Mania 24?
So, while that was your first and only WrestleMania, that was my first WrestleMania ever, going to WrestleMania 24. I won a contest to win tickets to not just WrestleMania, to also win the tickets to Raw, to win the tickets to ECW and SmackDown. I won a concert. I won a ticket, and the question for that was, what color was Miss Elizabeth's dress at WrestleMania 3? Trivia fans, anybody want to guess? I'll stop you right there. It is pink. I looked over and over again, thought it was white. It looked white to me. Looked at the tape. It was pink. Got that question correctly, and boom, went to WrestleMania for the first time ever for free, for gratis. And of course, when we're talking about WrestleMania 24, we shall talk about probably one of the best Mania matches of all time. At least in my opinion, also going with bias here, Ric Flair versus Shawn Michaels in the career-threatening match. The entrance itself, elaborate, blue like a peacock. He strutted his way, strutting down that aisle, rolling like the Ric Flair that he is. But we knew deep down inside, even though we didn't want it to happen, we knew this would be the last time we see Ric Flair strolling, walking down that aisle of WrestleMania one last time to the I don't know the name of the song. It's the 2001 Space Odyssey song. That's what I always call it. Sparta Sarda, maybe something like that. Yeah, I'm biases and best matches to the side. Ric Flair, WrestleMania 24, one of the best entrances, top 5 entrance of all Mania entrance of all time.
JB3, what do you say about Ric Flair for Mania 24?
The only thing I'm going to say is to anybody who's watching who does not want this on the list, I only have one thing to say. I'm sorry. I love you. 1000% yes.
Oh, I thought it was going to be woo.
No, like I said, if you do not want this on the list, it's being on the list, because with this third yes, I just super kicked it right on the list. This is one of the best, and I'll tell you, I almost wanted to pick Charlotte, the one that mimicked this, over the one we actually picked. But I mean, the one we actually picked was really good too.
At the same stadium.
I'm okay with this one staying yes, with this one staying, because the memory of both are in this one. It's such an iconic image to watch the fireworks transition from his entrance to her entrance, and how it just seamlessly looks so great. But yeah, I mean, the meaning behind it, it's the epitome. Like, we've been talking about it sporadically the whole time. It's the epitome of, you don't need all the flashy, you just need the meaning behind it, and that entrance was everything. So yes, all the way.
Richie, what would you have said about Ric Flair for Mania 24?
People have pretty much covered all I was going to say. This is amazing entrance. It has to be on this list. Yes.
But yeah, I was going to be the one to say no, but then after hearing the passion behind when Steve was talking about this, I decided there was only one thing I can say to this, and that's boo!
Woo!
Yes.
Whoa!
That's
Well,
perfect.
Jesus Christ. Got a frog right there. There we go.
But Steve, what is the next entrance you're going to bring up? And we've only got 2 spots left.
My God. My God. My God. All right. So I know we talked about this. I know we talked about the caveat of being the Mania entrances are not concerts, but listen, I talked about it earlier. I have to put it up there. CM Punk's entrance to WrestleMania 29 being aided by in living color to Cult of Personality. I know I know JB3 was probably going to say no on this based on the critique, and I know some other individual. I'm not sure it's Malcolm or JTH would also disagree with me, but I'm going to be the person that puts it on there, and also the fact that it just goes up to. That whole storyline that made it personal and just made everything with the fact that Paul Heyman had the urn. He had the urn in his hand as he was escorting CM Punk to the ring. And listen, people like talk about what's the other song? Kill Switch Engage as hits, but you can't disassociate CM Punk with Cult of Personality. Even if you like that song better in Stone Cold Steve Austin's Hall of Fame video. But I'm gonna be the one to put CM Punk's WrestleMania 29 entrance on there.
And actually, that's a list I might actually do at some stage. In wrestler theme songs, but JB3, what do you say about CM Punk for Mania 29?
I mean, Steve said it. I mean, I've already explained how I feel about it. It's a great entrance. It's got a lot of meaning. You're putting it up against the Taker one, which is my favorite Taker entrance. So,
Sorry, dude.
No, it's all good. I mean, I do like it, and I love CM Punk. I mean, I loved him. I mean, he's the reason I started watching wrestling again back in 2011. So, no hate for CM Punk, but I'm gonna have to give it a soft no. Sorry. The whole I've explained it. It's just
yeah. Well, there goes my Bray Wyatt pick.
Richie, what would you have said about? What do you say about CM Punk?
Well, what I say about CM Punk, I like CM Punk, but the entrance, if we had more spots available, I'd probably be more forgiving. But with the fact we only got 2, and I love Living Color. I think they're a great band, and this is cool. But yeah, I am sort of in JB3's camp of it being more of a concert thing. So I'm going to say no, but it is a good entrance, and I'm glad to talk about it.
I mean, this entrance is fine. It's still a no from me. This may be a hot take. I've never been a fan of Punk's song "Cult of Personality." I actually like the one he had before he changed it to "Cult of Personality."
Kill Switch Engage.
But yeah, I mean, JDH, what would you have said about CM Punk for Mania 29?
I mean, it was kind of alluded to comparing it to the Undertaker entrance. I mean, I don't think it stands up as much to that one. So I think it kind of is hurt just based on that alone. Because then you're basically saying it's the best match in terms of competing entrances of all time if we put both of them on here, which I personally don't quite agree with that. But yeah, I probably would have said no as well.
Fair.
But then we move on to JB3. JB3, what is the next entrance you're going to bring up?
So, really tough. Starting to get really tough to choose. I know who I'm going to choose, and I'm again stuck between 2 different WrestleManias, and they're very similar. One is the more popular one. The other one is probably the more forgotten one. But I think gosh, for some reason, it seems like this WrestleMania 30 Triple H entrance might get left off the list completely because we keep finding other ones to pick before that one. But screw it, I'm gonna do it. As great as the WrestleMania 30 one was, no, I can't. You know what? I'm gonna do it. Nobody done it yet. I'm gonna be the one to do it. I can't. It was a really good entrance. The facials, everything. I can't. I was gonna not do it, but I'm gonna do it. WrestleMania 30, Triple H. I mean, that's the one that's just been just looming over our heads this whole hour and a half we've been here. So I guess it's time for someone to finally just say it. Triple H, WrestleMania 30. And I mean, Sasha, Alexa, Charlotte were there. It was very, very amazing.
Richie, what do you say about Triple H Mania 30?
Yeah, we've alluded to it. We danced around it. I feel like we have to have a Triple H thing on here, and that, I mean, you poo-pooed my Terminator one. That's fine. Look, this is a great entrance. We have to have Triple H on here, and it's probably one of the best. So yes, I'll say yes.
Yeah, this is by far the best entrance from Mania 30. Sorry, Daniel Bryan. But this is just a great one. I mean, I'm one of those ones that I like all of Triple H's entrances, but this is one of those ones I would say is the best. JDH, what do you say about Triple H from Mania 30?
I mean, it's personally not my favorite Triple H entrance, but it is still a great one. To kind of move it along, I probably would have said yes, just because it's close enough on my list that I would have, just put it on here. But yeah, I mean, it's a great entrance.
And Steve, what would you have said about Triple H Mania 30?
Despite the fact that you guys took a big old steaming shit on my Daniel Bryan pick, despite the fact you took a big old steaming shit on my CM Punk pick, I will not be the one that would deny Triple H's media entrance WrestleMania 30. He was on my list many times. He was on many other people's lists. He may have been in the bottom of my final list, but he was on my list regardless. So despite all the infractions that you guys had occurred on me here, I will reluctantly but agreeably put Triple H as one of the best top 5 entrances of all time, Mania wise.
And Richie, got one spot left. Do you have the entrance that's going to fill it?
I thought going by how this is going, probably not. But we'll give it a go. But all right, I'm not again. My memory is foggy on what WrestleMania this is. But one of the 2 great matches that Michaels and Undertaker had, right? And then you had Shawn Michaels ascend from not from the rafters, but he was dressed in all white and across, and it was like representing sort of pure versus sort of evil. And I love this entrance. It's for if you know what I'm talking about. Shawn Michaels from Shawn Michaels vs Undertaker, but in one of the matches.
Is that the Mania 25 one, the one where he comes from the rafters?
Yeah.
25, not 25th anniversary WWE.
You don't have an anniversary as you start. Yes.
But yeah, this was on my list. This was actually going to be the one I was going to bring up. Had Richie, if it got back to me. But yeah, this is with this feud with HBK and the Undertaker. This was going so all over the place, but for this one was just a great entrance all around because he literally did the opposite of what Undertaker would do. Instead of being all dark and looming is like all bright and coming down from the ceiling at Angel. And I'm pretty sure in this same entrance, Triple H comes up from the ground, something like that anyway. But yeah, this one deserves to be on the list. JH, what do you say about HBK from Mania 25?
This was also on my list. This was also the next one I was going to bring up too. So I think there was one spot left. I think we all knew this was probably the one that should go on here. So yeah, it's a yes for me. When you think of iconic WrestleMania entrances, this is definitely the one. I mean, it was the perfect, yin and yang, with Shawn coming from the heavens and Undertaker ascending from the depths of hell. It was the perfect match for a WrestleMania encounter. So it's a yes for me as well.
But Steve, what would you have said about HBK Mania 25?
Well, the fact that we have two Undertaker entrances, I think it was apropos that we have two Shawn Michael entrances on this list. He is, after all, Mr. WrestleMania, and I'm going to give 100% mess up seal of approval. My God, him coming from the heavens, and the way that he had the hat down and lifted up and just smirked, that HBK smirk. That smile was never gone in the first place, ladies and gentlemen, because he regained that smile that night, even though the results was not in his favor. But yes, if we might as well just cap this this session off with Mr. WrestleMania himself from WrestleMania 25, not the 25th anniversary of WrestleMania 25, Shawn Michaels.
But JB3, what would you have said about Shawn Michaels from Mania 25?
Oh yeah, it was on my list for sure. That's one of his best. The only reason I picked 12 before that is because of how iconic it was. I mean, that, but they're both worthy of being on the list. They're great. Great entrance maker right there. So totally a yes.
But with that, we've got the 12 entrances we are going to rank on this list. Just to recap it for everyone, we've got Undertaker from Mania 20, Shinsuke from Mania 34, HBK for Mania 12, Charlotte for Mania 34, Rusev for Mania 31, Stone Cold for Mania 13, The Hardy Boys for Mania 33, New Day for Mania 32, Undertaker for Mania 29, Ric Flair for Mania 24, Triple H for Mania 30, and HBK for Mania 25. But now it's time to rank these into a top 12 list. And how we're going to do it is on a whiteboard or a bit of paper or whatever they've got handy. If people write down what they think should be the number 12 entrance out of the ones that we put on this list. But before that, JDH, did you have any honorable mentions?
Yeah, unfortunately, there was a lot of classic ones. I think kind of got the short end of the stick here because we kind of went from 25 and beyond. But Ultimate Warrior, WrestleMania 6, that iconic sprint to the ring is always remembered. Macho Man, WrestleMania 7, when he was carried to the ring by the King's Court. Razor, when he walked under the ladder for the first time, it was kind of iconic. And let's see. That's all I can think of off the top of my head. So I think that's good for me.
Steve, what honorable mentions did you have?
Okay, so I had Charlotte Flair's Mania 33 entrance, reminiscent of Flair's entrance. I agree with JB3 of that. By that, I mean it was very reminiscent, including with all the robes and the fireworks included. Edge, WrestleMania 24. That big ass firework display, when he was just lifted up. I mean, that was literally cars were lit on fire because of that firework display. Like literally.
Fun fact: I was actually 20 yards away from when that firework mishap happened.
Yeah, I know, right? It's crazy.
That was bad. Very bad.
You were lucky to survive it in the first place, So that being also a little memorable, but I also want to mention Bray Wyatt's Mark Crozer entrance. Yes, I know concerts, Mania and all that other stuff, but you can't help it. But that shit was hypnotizing, man. Hell, I got the song because of the damn entrance. So like, it was that song was catchy as hell. He literally brought that song out of obscurity, with his NXT entrance, and yeah, I mean, as far as I know, that's those are my 3 honorable mentions.
I forgot about Hogan at 18 too. That reaction he got there, that was
JB3, did you have any honorable mentions?
Oh yeah, for sure. Quite a few. Maybe not that many, but quite a few. So, yeah, when I picked the Triple H 30, I was debating to pick his other King entrance against, I believe it was against John Cena. I can't remember, at 22. It was the first one where he had the silver throne or the silver crown and it had his logo on it. That was so cool. I got also another Undertaker one on here, the Boneyard match. I did pick one. It was not an actual concert, but it was Metallica playing the bike, Metallica, him riding in through the
That's
smoke.
it's a little bit
It's
of it.
good. It's good enough to be an honorable mention.
All
But
right.
yeah,
All right, I won't poo-poo it. I mean, he wasn't making an entrance to the ring, or regardless,
right,
we'll
right.
go with it.
Richie, did
Hold on,
oh,
I got more.
That's a lot.
Demon Finn Balor at WrestleMania 35. We got one of those, so that was cool. The last one I'm gonna bring up is one that I was almost gonna bring up I was so close. But Richie made me think about this. It is Seth Rollins WrestleMania 31 when he cashed in the Money in the Bank briefcase. That's a great entrance because that sprint down, holding the Money in the Bank and just running, it was for his life, and going in there and cashing in, and then taking it away. The heist of the century. I don't know if it would count either, but for an honorable mention, he technically entered into the room with music.
well, hell, Steve and I should have nominated Charles Robinson from 24 then. That's
Hell
an
yeah.
excellent, that's an elaborate entrance.
Richie, did you have any honorable mentions?
Most of the things have been mentioned, but yeah, like the majority of the other John Cena ones, like especially the car, the clones, the marching band one was cool. That was cool entrance. I know it's conscience, and it's not. I like it for other reasons. It's not like particularly great, but I think at WrestleMania 18 with Triple H, where the singer from Drowning Pool forgot the lyrics to a song, and then just kept like repeating the chorus. That was funny, but I don't know. It's memorable to me. Yeah, and then like earlier ones like Macho Man, Ultimate Warrior, and I think everything else is sort of been covered as far as I know.
Yeah, I mean, for me, I had the Cena clones. I had Rowdy Roddy Pope from Mania 3, when he didn't come out on the thing because I read a story about that. His cart malfunctioned, so he didn't let that stop him. He just started rolling to the ring, then he ran down to the ring. I had Randy Savage and Bobby the Brain Heenan for Mania 9. The JBL Police Squad, when he came out on limo with the money coming out from 21. I had the Roddy Piper from the first Mania where he came out with the bagpipe thing and all that. And I mean, this is one that you can argue it's a concert again, but I had Sasha Banks from Mania 32 when she came out with Snoop Dogg, who she is actually related to. But yeah, but with that being said, it's time to rank the this. JTH, what do you have for number 12?
I had New Day.
Steve, what do you have for number 12?
I've got Stone Cold.
JB3, what do you have for number 12?
Sorry. Sorry, Steve. I had Shinsuke Nakamura.
Damn you, JB3. Damn you.
Richie, what do you have for number 12?
I actually, sorry, Malcolm, I also had New Day.
I had the Hardy Boys from 33, but New Day is going to be at the number 12. It's disrespectful, but it is what it is. And Jonathan Peck actually dropped some honorable mentions in here as well. He's already he mentioned the JBL limo entrance at 21, Undertaker's Motorcycle one from X7, Batista from 19, and also Undertaker with Limp Bizkit from 19. But yeah, I mean, any entrance that involves Limp Bizkit is probably not going to be good. But
Oh, you don't like rolling?
I don't. I really don't.
I mean, no offense, Richie. That should be your theme song. You know what I'm saying?
But with that being said, we're going to keep this rolling. Steve, what do you have for number 11?
You know what? I'm gonna since we already got New Day out of it, and I already voted Austin, so I don't think it makes sense for me to vote Austin again. I'm gonna vote Taker WrestleMania 29.
JB3, what do you want for 11?
I just kept my same answer.
Bastard.
Richie, what do you have for 11?
Yes, Shinsuke.
Oh.
I've got Hardy Boys from 33. JTH.
I have Nakamura.
Damn you. Sorry, Shinsuke. I'm so sorry.
Hey, you got him on the list though.
Damn straight I did. I hope I did you proud, boy.
Now, if we move on to number 10, JB3, what do you want for 10?
I got the Hardys.
Richie, what do you have for 10?
I have Austin at WrestleMania 13.
I'm sticking with the Hardy Boys. JTH.
I have Rusev.
Steve.
I've got Austin.
So, JTH, you're the only one that was different out of the five of us. Austin or the Hardy Boys at number 10?
I gotta go with the Hardys.
But with that being said, I've actually got to change my board now. Richie, what do you have for 9?
Austin. I think it's Austin.
I also went for Stone Cold from Mania 13. JDH.
Stuck with Rusev.
Steve.
Taker WrestleMania 29.
And JB3.
Damn. Stone Cold.
But now we move on to 8. Right. But I'm going to go with Taker for Mania 20 for number 8. JDH, what do you have for 8?
Rusev, Mashka, Crush.
Steve.
I went with Taker 29.
JB3.
I went with HBK from WrestleMania 12.
Richie.
We might have all different answers here. I went with Charlotte.
So we're in a 5-way tie. We've got Taker from Mania 20, Rusev, Taker from Mania 29, Charlotte, and HBK.
I think the one contestant is Taker.
Well, yeah, I'm going to go for, but I'm going to go to the chat. Which of those 5 entrances do you think should be 8? The first comment I see in the chat is the one that I will take. I do think I see it, but I'm just going to make sure that. But yeah, Rusev is the one that came in first.
Damn it.
Which unfortunately, Stardrew was the first one that came in.
Star Drew. Who do you Star Drew?
So,
Y'all a bunch of fucking heels.
Be a star, Drew. Yeah, dick. Anyway.
Be a star. More like be a dick. Sorry, Star Drew. That's just me being angry. I'm just lashing out. Don't take any offense to what I say. Because I didn't think that microphone was going to pick that up, anyways.
But with that being said, we go moving on to 7. JTH, who do you have for number 7?
I have Charlotte.
Not changing.
JB3. And Richie.
Well,
I'm sticking with Charlotte.
I'm sticking with Taker from 20. But it doesn't matter. Charlotte is going to be 7. But just to recap, what we've still got left, we've got both Takers from 20 and 29. We've got both HBKs from 12 and 25. We've got Ric Flair from 24 and Triple H from 30. But Steve, what do you have for 6?
Not changing it.
JB3.
I got Taker, WrestleMania 20.
Richie.
Taker 29.
Taker 20.
I think I know where JTH is rolling on here.
Do you? Taker 29.
Yes, sir.
But that being said, we move on to 5. Richie, what do you have for number 5?
Taker 20.
Taker 20. JDH.
I went Taker 20.
Steve.
I think I'm the only one who's going to vote for this one. HBK 25.
And JB3.
Taker 20.
Taker 20.
Well, back-to-back takers there. You might as well say he was the undergiver.
Hey, at least he has a new streak now.
Yeah.
But can you recap the flag?
One that doesn't give him a concussion, at least.
So what we've got still the four we've got left, we've got both Shawn Michael entrances. We've got Triple H from Mania 30 and Ric Flair from 24.
Okay. All right. I think. Go on.
This pains me to do it, but I like the other one more. For number 4, I've got HBK for Mania 12. JDH, what do you have for 4?
HHHXXX.
30.
25, HBK 25.
JB3.
HBK, WrestleMania 12.
And Richie.
I had HBK 12.
HBK 12 is going to be at 4. Also, I love the way we're writing this. It looks like we're doing presidential slogans. Take it, 20. But JDH, what do you have for number 3?
I'm sticking with Triple H at Triple X.
Steve.
There's no way that I'm going to have Triple H go over Shawn Michaels again. Triple H, Triple X.
JB3.
Triple H, Triple X.
And Richie.
Yeah, Triple H 30.
Yeah, I'd say I'm going to be the odd one out, but I'm sorry. I love you. I actually went Ric Flair 24. But Triple H from 30 is going to be 3. And this time, instead of putting your number 2 on the board, we're going to go straight to the number 1, just so it's a less anticlimactic that way.
Give me a second. I'm decorating my board.
Totally fair. It gives me time to get the banner up for that. And all right. So, Steve, what is number 1?
Well, sorry. I love you. Number 1, decorated with a lot of woo. Ric Flair, WrestleMania 24 is my number 1 pick, baby. And look, he's getting hit. It says, sorry, I love you.
JB3, what do you have for number 1?
Ric Flair.
Richie, what do you have for number 1?
Yeah.
I had HBK from 25.
I also had HBK from 25.
Let's go JTH. Let's go JTH.
It's a shame that I had to be there because I probably would have went the other way, but because I was there, it's got to be Ric Flair at 24.
Damn straight it is.
All right.
And I finished doing this.
God,
But, I will have a poll up on the chat for the topics for next week. Now, next week, It may not be on Saturday because it is Sunday for me and it's my birthday next week. So it may be on a different day. But there will still be a Rankum happening next week. Just what day it will be on was yet to be determined. But to recap the list, our top 12 WrestleMania entrances of all time. At 12, we've got New Day from Mania 32. At 11, we've got Shinsuke from Mania 34. At 10, we've got the Hardys from Mania 33. At 9, we got Stone Cold from Mania 13. At 8, we've got, if we'll go there, we've got Rusev from Mania 31. At 7, we've got Charlotte from 34. At 6, we've got Taker from 29. 5, we've got Taker from 20. HBK from 12 is 4. At 3, we've got Triple H from Mania 30 is at 3. At 2, we've got HBK from 25. And number 1, we've got Ric Flair for Mania
I can't turn full circle.
34.
Back hurts.
Yep.
Well, I would too, but then my laptop would fall over.
Same. It's just a strain in the back. All right, my job here is done. I got Nakamura and Rusev on that list. That's my job. That's what I did. Damn straight.
And also at the You Can't See Me level, we've got all of John Cena's entrances.
You can't. It says
You can't me.
you can't.
But with that being said,
See.
and I realised what I did on that. I don't care.
That's right.
At this point, it's like fuck it, let's go, just roll with it.
I mean, they already know I've stuffed it up when I put it up on the screen. So
Right. You know what I mean.
Of course, you know what I mean. But with that being said, JTH, where can people find you online?
You can find me on Facebook, Jeremy Hastings. I'm not really doing a whole lot lately, but you just stop by, wave up to my DM if you want to. But that's about it.
Steve, where can people find you online?
Yeah, hold on. I'm practicing my pointing. Okay. All right. So you can find me here at Steve Mesa. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. You also find me here at Mesa Media. Mesa Media, the one place where you can get highlight videos and specializes in shooting wrestling footage and all that sort of. Also, guess what, gentlemen? Next week I will be in Tampa, Florida. For what? For who? For when? Oh, WrestleMania, it's a nice little event. It happens once a year if there's not a pandemic, I'm going to be hosting Pro Wrestling Trivia Madness, baby, 4 p.m. at the Community Center at the Egypt Shrine Center. As part of GCW We Run This Town festivities, I will be all over Tampa, running from to and fro, shooting footages. And guess what? If you are in the area of Tampa, second place prize is Undisputed, rest in peace, signed poster. First place prize is a signed AEW ring signed by the likes of Gangrel, the likes of Chris Jericho, the likes of Britt Baker, Thunder Rosa, Ricky Starks, Brian Cage, so on and so forth. So you can get that, or you can get the mystery prize, which it could be a micro ball, it could be a DVD, it can be an action figure, it could be a signed poster. You never know. That's what the danger is when you pick up the mystery prize. So you get the mystery prize or the signed AEW toy ring. Be there or be square.
JB3, we can people find you online.
Online, well, the main place you can find me is if you like to watch YouTube and if you like trivia. Steve talked about it. He talked about wrestling trivia. Go to Combat Wrestling Trivia on YouTube. Run that trivia league. It's the only thing I pretty much do when it comes to trivia is that alone. I am the owner, the commissioner, whatever you want to call it. I run the show. Steve Mesa is a combatant over there. He plays. It's a good time. In fact, little fun fact, if you guys don't know, way back in the day, of course, Malcolm, before I say this, Richie also, he plays Malcolm. He plays every now and then. But what you guys don't know is that way back in the day, way back in the day. I'm talking in the early days, back in the way OG CWT days. Mr. JTH was playing. Not a lot of people know that. Not a lot of people know about JTH, but he was there. No, it's a good time. Check it out on YouTube. Combat Wrestling Trivia. Right now, we got the Clash of the Combatants going on. It is the first and only G1 style tournament that is going on in Wrestling Trivia. It is insane. We're currently in week 5. I'm a little bit behind on getting night 5 out, but it's going to happen.
Yeah.
But yeah, good times.
Back when I actually knew something about wrestling trivia.
And Richie, we can people find you online.
Yeah, you can find me on all the movie trivia spaces, but also, as JB3 mentioned, I'm at Wrestling Trivia. I got a match got to record next week with Chris Cass, so it'd be good to be defeated by him because I'm going to be destroyed. But I know I should probably back myself, but just being realistic here. But also, you also get Jordan Allen's Wrestling Trivia League, Wrestling Trivia. I do much better. I do much better at that. Apparently, my life is much better. I happen to beat Steve Banks from that. Here we go.
You're gonna have to be a fucking dick on that shit.
Sort of.
Now you're gonna be a heel on here too. You're such a fucking heel.
Yeah. So hit me up there. Hit me up on my like page on Facebook. Richie Goodacre. And whenever you do wrestling theme songs, whenever that is, I would love to be on. I love.
Me too. Same to you. Hey, Richie, can I get you a cheeseburger with some pickles and some onions?
But with that being said, you can find me over on Take 3 Productions, who I host Rankum every week. I'll have a poll up in the Take 3 group with the options for next week. You can also find me hosting Late Night. It will be coming back probably on a different day than usual. But I will announce when it's coming back. When I decide when it's coming back, it is soon. We will have other stuff in the works coming up. You can also find me over on Full Metal, where I host Full Metal Classic, usually on Sundays. Tomorrow is Easter, so I'm taking the night off. But with that being said, there's also a Full Metal Random match this week, and it's going to be Alex Shashik versus Nikki in Studio Ghibli match in movies. So it's going to be a lot of fun. And apparently the ending of this turned into show off your action figures or figurines or statues from WB games.
Hey guys, what's up? What's on the gang here?
That being said, before we all descend into madness, stay random, everybody, and keep listing shit.
Richie, I'm gonna kick your leg